Stephanie just did something that has every viewer staring at the screen like, is this real life right now? She posted a video proudly calling haircuts and a couple of clearance outfits a girl's day out. But the energy behind it, it wasn't joy, it wasn't bonding, it wasn't even about the girls. It was about her scrambling right now in real time to look like the most involved mother in the room. And the wildest part, she only took her daughters, no sans, no whole family moment, just the girls. Meanwhile, Dishon wasn't even with her. He was at his mother's house that weekend. And instead of just admitting that, she framed it like some picture perfect outing. You can feel it in the video. This wasn't normal parenting. This was pressure. This was optics. This was Stephanie trying to control the narrative while everything around her is heating up. Once you see the performance in her tone, her timing, and her sudden involved mom energy, you cannot unsee it. So picture this, it is the weekend, okay? Like no school, no sports, no excuses, nothing. Just a full open day where any parent who actually wants family time could have easily taken all the kids. But Stephanie, no. She hops on TikTok with this whole surprise girls day energy, like she just planned a spa retreat. And she's showing us salon chairs, kids in capes, getting trims, then wobbling through Ross and Marshall's aisles like this is some luxury experience. And I'm sitting there watching her video and I'm thinking, girl, stop. Because the tone she had, the excitement she pushed, felt forced. She kept repeating surprise like she wanted us to register it as a big emotional moment. But you could feel it in her chest. This wasn't a surprise born out of joy. It was a surprise born out of guilt, panic, and whatever pressure she's under right now.
Stephanie Jenkins, you finally took your girls out of the house and took them to go shopping. What happened? Did Deshawn get a haircut? Did Desiree do something for Deshawn and you thought, oh no, nobody can one-up my girls? Because we all know Stephanie Jenkins, you prefer them over him. And this is a picture down there even of their shoes. Like, the girls have good shoes, but Deshawn has old shoes. Same thing with the Halloween costumes. Deshawn had to go ahead and rewear his. Which I'm not, like, it's not an issue that he's re-wearing, like, a past costume that he's had. But the issue here lies with whatever. Here, the fact that the girls usually get new things. Addie and the other one. And I'm not gonna lie, like this looks like a good and happy day, but it's not happy when they're still living in that motel shelter. Like that's not going to be, the priorities are out of whack. Like how about you surprise them instead of surprising them with like a shopping spree or anything like that? You go and you surprise them with stable housing. I'm sure they would love that. And again, I'm not being mean or picking on her specifically because she's houseless. It's because she's making $10,000 to $15,000 a month and we don't know where her money is going because she can't get a place. It's because she refuses to prioritize her children and instead will garden instead of giving them like a stable household. The reason why is she'd rather put all her stuff in storage with the rats instead of getting a stable house. Her choices aren't the best and they are allegedly the product of her doing some kind of rugs.
And here's the part that actually makes me pause. She's calling haircuts and fitting clothes a treat. Meanwhile, the girls reportedly started school in old, almost unfitting clothes. The kind of clothes you keep tagging, adjusting, trying to make work, even though they don't fit anymore. They haven't had a proper haircut trip ever, not a real salon trip, nothing that resembles basic grooming that most kids get without it being filmed, edited, and labeled a special moment.
Good morning, guys. It is Sunday morning. I want to surprise the girls and do like a little girls' days. Me, I'm that bitch that can't do her makeup, okay? And we're going to talk about how I accidentally put shine on my forehead and made my freckle forehead wrinkles stand out. Alright, got the oatmeal done. Time to wake up the girls. Waking anybody up, so now we're going to go. Great Clips is not quite open, so we're going to head to. It's called Ross. So let's go in and see what we can find. Okay, real quick, I wanted to show y'all what the girls got at Ross before we're in that loud, crazy lighting motel room, okay? So these Rebel shoes, Bella. Addie picked out these pants. It's a set of 2, super cute. Little 30th birthday.
So that word surprise, it's heavy because the surprise wasn't, oh my God, mom is spoiling us. It was, oh wow, mom is finally doing the bare minimum. And when you see it like that, suddenly the whole video shifts in tone. At first glance, you'd think it was harmless, right? Wrong. Because calling overdue basics a day out tells you everything. It is strategy, it is image building, it is her trying to rebrand herself in real time while the pressure behind the scenes is getting louder and scarier for her. And she filmed it purposely, timed, positioned, framed to look like progress when really it is cleanup.
Expected. My take on Stephanie Jenkins was completely misappropriated. People twisted my words, put words in my mouth. So I'm going to leave it at this. It is not a crime to be living in poverty. It is a crime to be a neglectful parent. And if you're going to shit on somebody for one of the two, choose the latter. That's it.
Here's where everything shifts. Like, you can literally feel the energy snap in half. She only took the girls, and the way she acted like this was totally normal? No, besties. This is where I started squinting at the screen, because if you watch closely, there is this intention of framing, almost like she wants us to believe the boys did not exist that day. Not all the kids, not even most. The spotlight solely on the daughters. Meanwhile, Deshawn, the child who has visibly gone without in so many past videos, the one we've seen in very old shoes with the sole peeling off apart, the one who has worn the same outfits on rotation, he just conveniently wasn't there. And of course, he wasn't. He was with his mother, Desiree, that weekend. So suddenly, we're left asking, if this was really about family bonding, why only the girls? Weekends are prime bonding time. There is no scheduling issue. No logistic or hurdle, nothing stopping her from taking all of them. So why not include everyone? Why not simply wait until all her kids are present? Because this wasn't a family moment, this was a response, a calculated strategic little counter move on her part. A move that screams, oh, you're doing this for him? Let me show everyone I'm doing something too. Ever since Deshawn reunited with his mom, he has been getting actual basics. New clothes, clean haircuts, real attention, real effort. And Stephanie, oh, she noticed. You can hear it in the way she talks. She's even admitted that she felt bad that her daughters watched Deshawn receiving presents from his mother and that it made them want things from their other parent, which she tried to pin on Jeremiah, the girl's father, who is currently in jail on SA-related charges. Instead of hearing her daughter's needs as a wake-up call, she got jealous. Not inspired, not motivated, but jealous that another mom was doing for her child what she had not done.
If you miss Stephanie's Ross haul, I got it here for you. Now, you have to pay attention because she didn't show Addie's shoes on camera. It was just a quick little snippet, so you got to pay attention to that.
What the girls got at Ross before we're in that loud, crazy lighting motel room, okay? So these are the boots Addie picked out. She's in that girl era, you know.
I don't know, something happened to Stephanie's phone, so you couldn't really see the boots, but they were like some glittery cowboy boots. Now, I'm all for kids getting shoes that they want, but come on, Stephanie. Why would you let her pick out some glittery cowgirl boots? It's about to get cold. You know you don't like shopping for these girls like that. You know you don't. You barely go in these stores and shop like that because you claim that you have social anxiety, which I kind of believe you on that because you are a little awkward. And I am too, so I can believe you barely go into stores like that. So why would you let her pick out these glittery cowgirl boots? I don't know, y'all.
I'm saying I couldn't pass these up because it was only $5, $6, whatever, for everybody to get new toothbrushes. That's the place to do it, you guys.
Be for real, Stephanie. You cannot tell us where to get toothbrushes. No, ma'am. You cannot do that. Okay, that's not your place.
And these are the adorable shoes Bella picked out. I love these for her. Addie picked out these pants. Nice and soft. Just something comfy to wear around the motel.
Something comfy to wear around the motel? Girl, listen to yourself. You sound crazy. Now, what you could have said was, okay, this is something for her to wear to urban air.
Bella picked out these pants. It's a set of 2, super cute. Addie picked out this little fluffy sweater. Like I said, she's in that girl era, you know what I'm saying? Bella. And then, thought this had a hanger, but I guess not. And then Bella comes with a little headband. She's like really into headbands right now. So yeah, that's the damage done at Ross. These girls just get more and more expensive the older they get. Y'all know if you have girls, you know what I'm talking about. That's what it is.
Oh my. This is just, girl, wow.
Because the truth is, if she cared consistently, there would be no comparison to feel threatened by. Out of nowhere, she starts giving us Halloween costumes, trick or treat smiles, spooky movie nights, curated little wholesome clips. All of this popping up one after another like she's trying to create a highlight reel for herself. But we remember her past reactions. She would literally snap when people urged her to take her kids for basic medical checkups. So why the dramatic pivot now? Why this sudden Mother of the Year montage? Because something has shifted behind the scenes and she's reacting, not nurturing. No one saw this coming, but honestly, it only gets worse. When Stephanie feels threatened, she does not communicate. She does not self-reflect. She starts manufacturing storylines, and you can literally hear it in the way she phrases things. It's that tone she uses, like she's trying so hard to sound innocent while planting seeds in the audience's head. Let's talk about the live where she claimed out of nowhere that Desiree told Dishon not to call her mother because she did not look like his mother. And listen, the way she repeated it, the way she slowed down certain words, it was crafted to make people gasp. We don't even know if Dishon actually said this. We don't even know if Desiree meant anything really, racially. But Stephanie stretched it, exaggerated it, and acted like she had uncovered some deep, hateful motive. She turned it into a race narrative. She weaponized identity because she wanted people to see her as the victim and Desiree as the villain. You could see how badly she wanted the audience to pick her side. Then there was this moment in Drew's live. You can hear her off camera loud, frustrated, making noise about how Dishon took the school bus from his mother's house after sleeping over, and Drew is sitting there calm and bothered, saying it's fine, while Stephanie is trying to escalate it into a whole safety concern. Like, girl, be serious. Kids take school buses from different houses all the time. But she needed to twist it, inflate it, give it dramatic significance that wasn't even there. She wanted to turn a normal situation into a storyline of negligence because, again, if other moms look irresponsible, then she gets to wear the good mom badge. And then she shifts the target to Alita, claims that Alita isn't even fighting for her own child, that she's just creating chaos and fighting for Desiree instead. The way she said it, like she was presenting some big revelation, it was so transparent. It was classic Stephanie. Redirect blame, redirect attention, make other women look like the problem so she can slide into the narrative looking like the reasonable one. But bestie, the pattern is the same every time. She uses outrage to cover her own negligence. She uses drama to distract from the real conversations. And when the pressure builds, she makes someone else the villain. And if you thought her spin was bad, the next part is the loudest tale of all. CPS is involved. And the way this came out, it wasn't subtle, it wasn't whispered, it wasn't Stephanie bravely admitting something. It was her own mother stepping forward and exposing that Stephanie has an open CPS case and that there is a very real possibility that her kids could be removed and handed over to their grandmother. When you hear that, everything she's doing right now suddenly clicks into place. And the thing is, this doesn't feel like gross. It doesn't feel like a mother who had an awakening and decided, okay, let me show up for my kids. No, it feels like someone who is scrambling, someone who knows the spotlight is not just from TikTok anymore, someone who is being watched by a system that can take your kids from you if you don't step up. This is the missing puzzle piece, the piece that makes all her sudden involved mom content feel like a survivor reaction. You can almost feel the panic underneath the surface, the sudden haircuts, the sudden costume buying, the sudden trick or treating, the sudden movie nights. They're not natural shifts. They're defensive moves. They're don't take my kids moves. Right now, she's performing motherhood like she's checking boxes. Like, look, I bought clothes. Look, we're at the salon. Look, I'm doing something fun. But when you zoom in deeper, you realize she's not doing these things because her children finally mattered to her. She's doing them because CPS is watching, because people are talking, because Desiree and Alita are knowingly applying pressure by simply doing the bare minimum as mothers. She's not reacting out of love. She's reacting out of fear. You can see it in how rushed everything looks, how curated, how perfectly timed sidelines criticism. She's documenting every small action like she needs a portfolio of evidence to present. Not because haircut suddenly mattered, because documentation suddenly mattered. Her energy right now doesn't feel like parenting. It feels like proof gathering. And that is what makes this whole thing feel so human in the saddest way possible. Not a story of a mom becoming better, but a mom trying desperately not to lose everything. This is the part that honestly gave me chills because once you strip away the salon selfies and the forced smiles, you can see that these girls actually live through every single day. You can actually see what these girls live through every single day, and it hits you in a way that sits heavy. Like you're not just watching a TikTok mom anymore, you're watching kids try to survive their mom's instability. Behind the salon selfies is the real day-to-day Stephanie, raw, unfiltered. The version the camera always conveniently misses. And this is the part that makes me want to scream because this is a child who should be living her own childhood, not raising her siblings. This is the same girl who got a haircut and 2 outfits in the video. Stephanie showed her off like she's finally doing something thoughtful. But in reality, this girl is constantly being left with the baby, constantly being dragged into adult disputes with Drew, constantly being cast out for acting like a kid. She's expected to hold everything together while her mother unravels, and the saddest part, you can tell she thinks it's normal. And then there's the moment that still stings. Stephanie straight up telling her daughter to get used to disappointments when she asked for donuts. Donuts! A simple request, a child's request, and Stephanie made it a life lesson in suffering. Imagine being a little girl excited for something so small and your mom shuts you down with a statement like that. It is cold, it is unnecessary, it is emotional harm disguised as parenting. And then we have this Dishon showing up with a black eye, allegedly from Stephanie, and your heart sinks because a black eye on a child is not something you can misinterpret. It's not a parenting style. It's not a moment of stress. It's violence. And when you connect that with everything else, the yelling, the chaos, the neglect, it paints a terrifying mental picture of what may be happening off camera. And Stephanie herself admits she's not a gentle parent. And this is the part that makes me want to scream because this is a child who should be living her own childhood, not raising her siblings. This is the same girl who got a haircut and 2 outfits in the video. Stephanie showed her off like she's finally doing something thoughtful. But in reality, this girl is constantly being left with the baby, constantly being cast out for acting like a kid. She's expected to hold everything together while her mother unravels. And the saddest part, you can tell she thinks it's normal. And then there's the moment that still stings. Stephanie straight up telling her daughter to get used to disappointments when she asked for donuts. Donuts! A simple request, a child's request, and Stephanie made it a life lesson in suffering. Imagine being a little girl excited for something so small and your mom shuts you down with a statement like that. It is cold, it is unnecessary, it is emotional harm disguised as parenting. And then we have this Dishon showing up with a black eye, allegedly from Stephanie, and your heart sinks because a black eye on a child is not something you can misinterpret. It's not a parenting style. It's not a moment of stress. It's violence. And when you connect that with everything else, the yelling, the chaos, the neglect, it paints a terrifying mental picture of what may be happening off camera. And Stephanie herself admits she's not a gentle parent. She calls herself a helicopter mother, but not in the projective way most people mean it. No, she uses it to justify control, anger, harshness, and neglect, almost like labeling herself excuses the behavior. Like as long as she names it, it becomes acceptable. It seems small, but it's actually huge because this is where the girl's day out finally fully unravels. Haircuts and 2 outfits do not equal safety. They don't equal stability. They don't erase the years of instability these kids have been forced to swallow. They do not rewrite housing history, and they do not heal the emotional bruises that come from never knowing where you're going to sleep next. Let's slow this down because this is the part people don't like to think about, but it's the part that sits heavy on your heart when you really picture it. The kids lived with a convicted pedophile father, Jeremiah, until CPS had to step in and force Stephanie to leave that environment. Imagine being a child and being taken out of a home, not because your family is moving, but because the situation was dangerous. Their safety only became a priority when the system forced it. Grandmother's home, and for a brief moment, just a moment, they tested what stability could feel like. Sleeping in proper beds, having structure, feeling safe, being with their grandmother, who actually provided what felt like a real home. And then, suddenly, that stability was snatched from them too. Drew's 1 bedroom, After that, Stephanie moved them into Drew's tiny one-bedroom apartment. And this is where your heart drops. The kids were sleeping on the floors of the living room and kitchen while Stephanie and Drew got the bedroom. Think about that. Think about being a child trying to sleep on the floor with siblings, squeezed in two corners, hearing every fight, every conversation, every late night argument, and then add two more kids into the chaos. The entire space turned into survivor mode. Now, how about the eviction, the motel shelter? And then came the eviction, which led to the motel shelter, a single room, one cramped space where their entire lives now sit in bags and piles. They've been there for months, waking up every day in the same four walls, with nowhere for their minds to expand, nowhere for their bodies to breathe. So yes, when the girls smiled in Ross, when they laughed in those salon chairs, those moments were real. Kids cling to any bit of joy they're offered. Their joy is honest, but that doesn't make the gesture enough. That doesn't make the environment safe. Those smiles are crumbs, tiny pieces of happiness in between long stretches of uncertainty. The cake, the real surprise they desperately needed, a lease, a home, a door that locks, a bed that's theirs, a room that doesn't disappear every time an adult makes a mistake. That's what matters. That is what they're craving. That is what would finally make them breathe a little easier. You guys, tell me I'm not the only one seeing these red flags. Imagine being a child who calls a haircut a surprise because it happens once a year. Imagine being the oldest daughter, carrying adult problems, babysitting, absorbing the yelling, and then being handed two shirts and told it's a special day. Imagine being Dishon, tossed between adults while your needs become someone else's scoreboard. It is heartbreaking, and I'm sitting here like, nope. A shopping bag doesn't weigh what a safe set of keys does. So now we're left with one big question. Was this girls' day out love or leverage? Because honestly, I don't even know how to feel about this. The kids look happy and they deserve every happy day, but they deserve more than occasional. Camera-ready crams. They deserve housing, consistency, and safety. Calling overdue basics a day out is the tell. It's not the win she thinks it is. The win could be a stable home. What do you think? Am I overreacting this, or do you also see the competition, the pressure, and the performance? Drop your thoughts below because this story, it is not leaving my mind anytime soon.